Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. No matter where you are in the world, I'm happy that you found me. I'd like to talk today about why it is that most people ignore their intuition. And it's kind of one of those topics that never gets old and is important for all of us to realize and work with so that we can better ourselves in understanding how to feel it and why we do it, which is part of making sense of what it is that we're feeling. So sometimes you might have that inner nudge that just says, don't take that job, or something's off with this person. It's a feeling that seems to land in your body before your brain can even form a sentence. It's a sense of knowing that isn't bogged down by 1,001 different thoughts. And it also brings us to the idea that something's just nagging at us to take a look at. But that other thing that's nagging at us is the other voice, the logical one. Oh, it says, that couldn't be right. No, I'm not really thinking that. And it convinces you that your original intuitive feeling was just silly or irrational. The feeling isn't random. It's an internal compass. And if you've been ignoring it, you're not broken. You've just been taught to mistrust yourself. Maybe something that you firmly thought would happen didn't happen, and you thought, well, I can't rely on that again. It hurts too much. We often overvalue one kind of thinking, believing we must act with cold, hard rationality. And maybe that's because we grew up with cold, hard rationality, or we have a scientific mind to begin with. And so we want proofs. And things aren't always provable at the moment that they are felt. We sometimes honor this mind, the servant, and forget the gift of our intuition. So we're going to see if we can figure out what it is that you're doing or why you're doing it, and see if you can flip that switch and do something very, very different. The central conflict for so many of us is the silent tug of war that comes in there and we're working on it. It's the war between our gut and our brain. And it's the same way when you're falling in love with somebody. Is it the heart or is it the head that's doing the talking? And it should at least be a combination of both. It's the tension between feeling and overthinking, or intuition and intellect. We have this capacity for insight that's been honed over a lifetime of experiences that have taught us that this form of wisdom operates faster than conscious reasoning. Yet when it seems to step up to let us know something, we treat it like an unreliable narrator, a narrator that says, oh, but you don't know that for sure. You're just making that up. So we get this feeling or flash of insight, and the path is crystal clear. But then we say, what if I'm wrong? Oh, what if I'm wrong? What if you are? What is it? Is it fear that steps in? What if I look stupid? What if I'm just being emotional? This second guessing can lead to our procrastination, and actually it can lead to paralysis. It's called analysis paralysis. It's like we think too much. We're not allowing ourselves to delve into other parts of knowing that exist within our lives and our bodies. We stay in jobs we don't like, relationships that drain us, and feel situations that feel off, because we've convinced ourselves that our logical mind is the only one worth listening to. And that's just not true. So here are the three traps we kind of fall into. The first one is the agitation trap. If we are so quick to dismiss things, these are the reasons why. The first one is the certainty trap, the fear of the unknown. Well, if we think about it, from the moment we're born, we live in the unknown. We don't know where we're going or what we're doing. Everything is dependent upon who are our parents, where we live, how we grow up, our experiences. And we're just led to this place in space on this planet that says, you'll get there eventually. Our brains are wired, however, for survival. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's a big part of it that seeks the certainty. But is anything really certain? The brain loves hard data, spreadsheets, pro and con lists, the 5-year plans. Intuition doesn't give you that. It's the ability to know something without needing to explain how you know it. And those of you who are claircognizant, or it's feelings, you just know it. It's your intuition. You don't hear it, you don't see it, you just know it, okay? It operates on the subconscious level and recognizes patterns and integrates all of these things that are in our bodies and environment faster than our conscious mind can. That's why dreams are so revealing if you know how to read them. They offer you that unfiltered look at whatever it is you're working on. Because intuition doesn't show its work, like that long math problem we may be doing, our logical mind can dismiss it as something flawed. Research on decision-making shows that even when experts like chess masters or doctors make lightning-fast, accurate, intuitive judgments, it's because they are bringing in those patterns that they have had happen through time and experience. Your gut might scream that it's perfect on paper, but the job offer is wrong for you. And your logical brain points to the salary, the benefits, the title, and turning it down would be irrational. However, it may not be perfect for you, and you're not looking at it from that perspective. We crave evidence. And this craving, especially when the stakes are very high, is something that we trust so much more than anything else. The second trap that we fall into in this is the fear of judgment. Oh my gosh, we're so conditioned to seeking external validation. Do you think it's a good idea? Did you like that idea? Do I do okay? Am I okay? We learn it in school, at home, and in our careers. And we learn to perform for an audience, making choices that will be met with applause instead of skepticism. And if you've ever had someone say, well, I don't really think that's a good idea, that's like, oh my God, we don't, what do I do? Especially if we value the opinion of that person over our own selves, which is really something we have to move away from. Intuition doesn't care about public opinion. It doesn't care if some people don't believe you. It's a pathway to your authentic self, and it will guide you towards choices that align with your unique values, even if those choices seem unconventional or kind of strange to other people. Maybe your gut is telling you to leave a prestigious career to become an artist or move across the country. These are not choices that are easily defended at a family dinner. The fear of judgment or having to explain your decision logically is the silencer to many people's intuition. We ignore our inner compass because we're afraid of being seen as foolish or impulsive or irresponsible. And we can become so addicted to approval, we're willing to trade our inner peace for it. We don't need to do that. No amount of external praise can quiet the soul that knows it's on its wrong path. The next one is the anxiety imposter. The third trap may be the trickiest. We mistake the voice of anxiety for the voice of intuition. It's a critical distinction to make because they can feel deceptively similar. Both show up as strong feelings in your body, a sense of urgency or a warning, but they come out of fear. The best way to think about it is that anxiety is fear-based and full of mental chatter. It's frantic, it's chaotic, it's loud. It's a voice that asks endless what-if questions. What if this? What if that? It catastrophizes about the future, and it makes you feel constricted and overwhelmed, often coming with a racing heart, a pit in your stomach, or a feeling of dread. True intuition, on the other hand, tends to be calm. It's a very deep knowing that feels clear, firm, and expansive. Even if the message is a warning or requires a difficult change, the feeling itself is one of neutrality and clarity. There's no panic involved. We've become so accustomed to the frantic energy of anxiety that when the calm, steady voice speaks, we either don't notice it or we dismiss it because we don't feel the same dramatic, fearful change. Learning to differentiate is fundamental to our inner guidance. Very, very important if we want to live with our intuition. All right, Aley, you've identified all those things for me. Now, how do I change this? I mean, you're not giving me some tools for that. So there are 3 steps to recalibrating your inner compass. The first one is acknowledge and then get curious. You can listen to a voice that you can't listen to a voice that you can't acknowledge, okay? Or that you refuse to acknowledge. The first step is to start paying attention. And when you get a gut feeling, don't dismiss it. Pause, notice it, get curious about it. Pay attention to where you're feeling it in your body. Does your stomach drop or your chest tighten? Does your body lean or pull away? These body signals are part of the language of intuition. A technique is to personify it. Think of it as your internal GPS, an inner advisor. You don't have to act on it, just engage with it. Okay, so my internal GPS is saying such and such. What is it trying to show me? Why is that? A simple acknowledgement tells your intuition that you're listening, okay? You're getting the feeling and your reaction to that feeling. And it doesn't come from a fear-based thought. It isn't like, oh, what are you trying to say to me? Oh my God. It isn't that, okay? It shifts you from being a victim of confusing feelings to being curious about them. The second step is to start really small and build on your evidence. You know, we don't often, if we've been ignoring our intuition, we don't often jump right into, oh, I'm going to flip the switch and everything's going to come right away. You wouldn't try to lift a 500-pound barbell on your first lift of weightlifting, would you? So you don't have to trust your intuition with a life-altering decision. Start with something really small and build your confidence. Try it with everyday things. When your phone rings, guess who it is before you look. When you're driving, take a different route home because you haven't been that way and it feels like maybe that might be right. When you're choosing a restaurant, go with the first one that pops in your head. When you're also, these are small bets. If you're wrong, the consequences are minimal. Every time you do this, you're logging another piece of evidence into your brain's filing cabinet. You're essentially building a case for your intuition. And you're knowing that that works out for you or not because you're going to get evidence pretty quickly. The next one is conduct a postmortem or after the deed, okay? Learn from your past. Become a detective in your own life. Set aside some time to reflect on some of the major decisions you made. Think about a time you followed your gut and how it turned out. How did it feel? What was the outcome? Relive the confidence and the intuitive rightness of that choice. Now do the hard part. Think about a time you ignored your gut feeling and later regretted it. The job you knew that was wrong, the relationships that always had red flags. Don't do this to beat up yourself. Do it to learn. What were the exact consequences of not listening to your intuition? How did it feel to live with the decision that you made? This postmortem analysis is powerful. It uses your own life experience as personal proof of the value of your intuition. When you can see a clear pattern that listening to your gut leads to alignment, ignoring it leads to regret, then you will start to be more open to its guidance. So trusting your intuition basically isn't just about predicting the future. It's about having the confidence to navigate the present and to make choices that you're deeply and truly aligned with so that you can live authentically within the parameters of your own life. It is the ultimate act of self-trust. And sometimes we don't trust ourselves, but you can change that. If this video resonated with you, please give it a like. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I would love to hear about how you feel about this topic and how you have felt in the past when you have ignored your intuition and tried to think of a more rational reason for doing things, even though the other reason wasn't perfect. I hope you have a beautiful holiday season. Thank you for listening.